Yo, yo, am I live? Oh, yeah. I sure am. Turn that volume up. Yeah, what's up? Happy Friday. Good morning. What's good? Yeah, buddy. What's going on out there on a fine Friday morning? Yeah, you know what it is. What's good? Welcome, welcome. What's up, everyone? What's up, world? What's up, YouTube? Welcome. What's up, streaming podcast apps and shit? By the way, can't leave y'all out. What's good? Welcome. Welcome to a fine Friday edition BS with Hannas. That's me. I'm Nikki Hannas. Whoa, shit. Damn, my whole jaunt like almost just snapped. Anyway, yeah, it's a it's a Friday morning. You know what I mean? Welcome to it. Live on YouTube. The whole premise of this show, man, I'll come out here in the morning. Just talk about kind of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm pondering, what I'm meditating on. Kind of changes day by day, but it's all basically the same stuff, man. You know, the whole premise. I'll wake up and take a walk and read some good stuff. Come out here, talk to the people. When I'm done talking to my people out here, go rip some weights, go to work, handle my business, so on and so forth, man. You know, I don't even know what I'm thinking about today, man. I feel kind of like it's a big picture Friday, but I kind of feel just like blurry. I don't know why. I'm not too certain why. Thinking about life, and I think about this show, and I think about like, what am I doing? What's the whole point of coming out here? You know, I got my hands in a bunch of pots, doing a whole bunch of different things, and it's good. You know, it keeps me from being solely compressed into just a life where I get up and go to work, and I get done work and bullshit around and do nothing, and then go to sleep, and then wake up, and then go to work. You know, I can't. That's like horrible. You know, most of my life, you know, I got a little over 3 years sober now, but most of my life that was it. And in between that, you know, I would just drink. I would just drink and get high to fill the space. And I would have miscellaneous projects. You know, I'm a musician, so I've been writing and playing music in bands for about 15 years or so. So that was always my main driving thing. And even when I was drinking a lot, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm a bar rat and I'm out here just ripping and running and, you know, up to no good most of the time. But this is the story. This is how, you know, I write the story that is the biography of the person who writes the songs and gets on stage and bangs their head. And, you know, it was always kind of like, you know, this is what it is, right? This is an authentically lived life and it's going to manifest through the songs and it's going to come out into the stage persona or what have you, you know, even in my drinking days, it was like just all in the spirit of just unfiltered, raw, fucking just rock and roll. And once I stopped drinking, it's like, all right, how are we going to do this? You know, and everything took on new meaning because it's, you know, I'm not just spending my time in between days of work drinking and, you know, now in retrospect, it's like, yeah, a lot of that was just distraction, you know. Uh, it's all coping. I had someone in one of my YouTube short comments say that everything in the world is just it was about escaping, like escapism. And the guy in the comments was basically saying everything in the world is just a form of escapism from God. And that's an interesting thought. Yeah, I don't know how true it is necessarily, but it's also neither here nor there. The idea of escaping and how that like the way you just live your life day to day. You know, I come out here 3 mornings a week just for about 10, you know, 15, 20 minutes. It'll be shorter today because I got to go. It's a Friday. I run a burger joint, everybody. The glamorous, high esteem position of that. But it just means it's a Friday. It's busy. Got to get to it. Got to get my business handled early. Anyway, you know, the idea of escaping, it's like I'm not working a conventional 9 to 5. I'm not doing that stereotypical, I don't know how else you'd say it, like the thing of the rat race. We're all in the rat race and we're all rats on some level, but we're also not. We're real people. So what are you doing to fill the time between obligations? In the back of my mind, I still got, it's all still what informs the song. You know what I'm saying? Everything I'm doing just informs the big picture. It's just not filled with smoky bar rooms and bags of coke and whatever else. And when I first got sober, a lot of that void that was there, yeah, oh yeah, I put on a bunch of weight quickly when I first stopped drinking. I was putting on weight while I was drinking, but when I would drink, I wouldn't want to eat. Whatever. I'm not even gonna go into like that dumbness, but like once you got nothing to do, if all I did was just drink and do things, just run around stupid, which is basically what it was. And I got nothing to do. It's like, how do I fill this space? How do I occupy my time? What do I do in those moments between clocking out of work and going to sleep and then getting up and doing it again? It took me a while to kind of figure that out. And in that stretch of time is when the gym and working out took on new meaning as I would sit in this evolved and evolving state of who I am. The music would take on new meaning, all my creative projects of sorts, songs I'd written, songs I was writing, songs I was going to write, they would all take on, new meanings, work, my I don't know, I guess the role of what I would occupy in life, the whole image, self-image, a lot of that stuff started to shift. And as I'm 3 years in, it's like, that stuff's ever shifting. Nothing's ever static, nothing ever stays the same. And that's a truism of sorts you hear your whole life. Nothing's ever the same. Everything's always changing. It's a flow. Life is a river. Yeah, I've experienced that dramatically. I think I'm still very much so in the midst of that. And it's thick. It's a thick, fast flowing river sometimes. But ultimately, you know, the utopian in all of us, the idealist in all of us, it seeks expression in different ways. And I don't have any alternative right now besides, you know, doing the work thing. Doesn't mean I'm not building. Doesn't mean I'm not trying to find an escape. For the highest, what do they say in all these spaces on the internet? The highest actualized form of self. Yeah, that's what I'm working towards. And the only time I got to do that is in that time between clocking out and going to sleep. So I usually hit it pretty hard as I can, man. But you hit something and it hits back. As I'm just learning this stuff about life, and when I come out here and talk about it without a script, just thinking out loud, rolling off the top of my head, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't look forward to Fridays. I don't look forward to the shit. I'll be in there around 10:30 today. I probably won't be done till about midnight because I got end of month stuff to do, and it's all good. There's dignity and, dare I say, glory sometimes in hard work, and that's where the dichotomy comes in for me. That's where the contrast and that's where the misalignment comes in for me. You spend a lot of time working hard at something, and there's a lot of excellence, a lot of arete, a lot of virtue in working hard on something diligently for a long time. That's the truth of all things. However, when it's misapplied, how much excellence and virtue is there in working hard at a thing for a long time if it's all the wrong thing? Yeah, and that's the stress I kind of exist within. So I don't look forward to Fridays necessarily, man. And part of me that fashions himself an anti-hero, I'm the real one. I see reality and you guys don't. I gotta like cut that voice back as much as I can because I ain't that fucking special. But I have it in me, and I'm like, yeah, I work my longest and hardest days on Fridays while the rest of the world is. It's a Friday. I can't wait to get out of the office and go to happy hour and go to the bar. But then I'm getting too big for my britches even there. Like I want to speak for the rest of the world. I just, maybe I'm just raging against a projected image of my past self, so to speak. And I don't know, man, it creates a stasis. And the only way out of that stasis is just execution, just acting, just doing things, you know? It's the old thing about, Do you think yourself into right action or do you act yourself into right thinking? These are big questions, all of just stuff that I've just picked up books and podcasts and, lessons on the internet. It's interesting, man. I wake up on Fridays and I had a roommate move out. So my rent jumped up a little bit, but enough to be like, damn, that kind of stings. The whole world is getting crazy, crazy more expensive. So now everywhere you look, the boomers are arguing with the Gen Z people on the internet, and everyone's got an opinion. And interest rates, the Fed, the politics, the grocery prices, the migration. And it's like, dude, I need to. There's the only truth about all that, even if there's a lot of truth in it. Some arguments have more weight, some arguments have more merit than others. But once I invest myself into this argument, it's taking that energy away from focusing on my own life. However hard or easy or meaningful or cynical, whatever it occupies in the gamut of emotions and adjectives. I need to just zero in on myself. And this is where I get my real internal critic comes out too. Cause it's like, yeah, so focused on yourself. And that means the whole thing's about you, isn't it? Yeah, it's all about you. And you wonder why you're not happy. It's just interesting shit. So when it comes time to blast that pre-workout and listen to some metal, I'm doing back on Fridays now. So it's going to be a bunch of bent over rows and pull downs and as many pull-ups as I can bang out. Maybe some biceps just for good measure. Once I'm in there, there's not really a place to have all these thinkings and thoughts and the hamster wheel. Sometimes it's a hamster wheel. Some days I get out here and I got a real good point and I got a lot of energy and I'm just like, all right, let me just blast it. And other days it's kind of just riffing and thinking and existing within something. That's kind of where I'm at today. As I think about what it is I come out here to do. Come out here on YouTube and the subscriber count is slowly going up. So thank y'all for that. I got some real ones that come in the chat and hang out sometimes. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for that. I got some haters that come out here and like to just run their mouths, but I also got on the shorts at least a bunch of people that are meaningfully, engaging. So shout out to y'all for that. Yeah, man. So it's all good. I just got to remember that. Got to remember that it's all good, man. It's all good. There's a saying I heard from Mr. Big Dude on YouTube, Mr. Myron Golden. I like listening to Myron's stuff. It's empowering. It cuts through a lot of the bullshit. Very just straightforward. Yeah, I can hear someone and be like, "This dude's talking truth." Excellent. Thank you for that, sir. He says something that there's two ways of framing life, and only one of which is correct. Either everything happens to you, or everything happens for you, and that's the trick. That's the tension. Are things happening to me, or are things happening for me? I know in my life, when I look back on it, whenever things got real hard and it felt in the moment as it was happening to me, well, it forces a level up. It forces a level up you might not like, you might not be ready for, but sink or swim, do or don't. And once you swim for a little while, you're like, all right, I got this. So it goes. And that's the real just way of moving and thinking. Something that, retard max and stop thinking so much and just get it done, whatever it costs. That's where the action comes in. That's how that's what I tell myself at least. And like I was saying the other day, talking about the manifestation stuff, Mr. Neville Goddard, be delusional, retard max, and be delusional. Maybe that's the best advice I can give myself. And in turn, give it to everybody else out here. Be a delusional retard and just crush and just kill it. So there we go. I'm going to end the show today on that note because I got to get going. Happy Friday, everybody. Be a delusional retard. And I mean that endearingly. I mean that lovingly. I do not mean that disparagingly. I'm talking to myself at the end of the day. I'm looking at myself in this webcam right here. No one's in the chat right now. I like to cover up how many people are watching because I don't want to be swayed by numbers. Doing something righteous means doing it for its own sake as an end in and of itself, as if there's no audience. That's where character's built, not to appease, not to look for applause, not to get validation or nothing. There could be 1,000 people in here, it could be zero. Likely, it's about two. But that's all good. I appreciate you guys nonetheless. You know, who are you when no one's watching? That's a big thing. A lot of us aren't congruent in that, and that's the effort, that's the fight, that's the journey. That's what we're doing, man. So yeah, thanks for hanging out on a fine Friday morning. I'm gonna get out of here. This is BS with B Hannas live on YouTube with me. I call myself Nikki B Hannas. You can find it here on YouTube. I send this out to Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, so on and so forth. There is another YouTube channel, just me playing some guitar at Nikki B Hannas Music. There's some live footage up there, some music videos, a couple homies and I made, and then a bunch of just backing track jam series. Just I like improv. I like improv, man, because if you think too much about something, you know, the paralysis by analysis, that never you never do anything with it. And I bet you there's a lot of people that would never just basically film themselves practicing and put it on the internet. It has to be like I was just saying, it has to be received correctly. It has to be optimized and the perfect take, or, you know, and I reject a lot of that. That's why I don't script this. That's why I never know exactly what I'm coming out and talking about. That forces evolution as well. But I digress. Yeah, you want to hear the studio music? I affectionately refer to my stuff as heavy blues metal. You can find that on all over the internet. NikkiBehannas.com, NikkiBehannas.bandcamp.com, Nikki Behannas on all streaming services. You want some merch, some heavy blues metal merch, some Keep Rippin' merch. I got one on right now. Keep Rippin'. You can go to heavybluesmetal.com. Follow me on Instagram at heavybluesmetal. I think that's it. My long list of plugs is done. It's a Friday. One love. Keep ripping. Keep it real. I'm out. Peace.